the Houston Texans, who we were just talking about, versus the Tennessee Titans. Full disclosure for those watching this on YouTube, David and I record these on Monday morning. So the Tuesday Tennessee game, we're assuming that it gets played. We don't know the storylines yet. Apologies there. We're going to assume everybody's fully healthy and ready to go. Let me hit you with fantasy football projections. Deshaun Watson, new offense, new juice. I go ahead and start him. David Johnson. I wanted to wait and see last week to see if David Johnson was going to split carries with Duke Johnson or not. He got the lion's share of the carries, had a pretty nice yards per carry average, so I'm going to stick with David Johnson. I think he's startable this week. Will Fuller, I don't love the matchup, but I can start him. Brandon Cooks, I don't think what happened last week is going to happen again. I do have a start grade on him computer projection-wise, but I personally sit him, maybe play him in some daily fantasy, and I got nobody else from Houston. Now, Tennessee, I don't like the matchup for Ryan Tannehill. I do like the matchup quite a bit for Derrick Henry. A.J. Brown, I think you got to start him. Corey Davis, if active, you can start him as well. And Jonnu Smith, I love him pretty much every week when he plays. It's been a while since we've seen him, David. But Jonnu Smith, I would start him as well. Take it away.
Yeah, it's tough talking about the Titans because even last week we're like, oh, well, we'll talk about that. Now, we'll talk about 2 weeks ago, you know.
Yeah.
It's at this point, you're doing a whole lot of projecting for the third time with the Titans. I mean, who knows what they're going to look like. They haven't played a game. This will be assuming they play this week, hopefully, and this Tuesday night game's not canceled. But if it is, it could be 3 weeks since they played a game. So we'll see how it goes with the Titans. Again, we think a bye of a good thing, but again, you don't want to be off for so long and get cold. So we'll see how it goes. Brandon Cooks, I mean, you're not thrilled about it, and I can't be thrilled about it either, but I think he's a little bit of a buy for me right now because his value dropped so low. I released him in a league that I had him in. It was a little bit of a shallower league, but after like week 3, I released him. I was just done with it.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to kind of, be like, all right, well, it was his first couple games with a new quarterback, new team, It wasn't really fair to dismiss him that quickly.
Yeah. My thing is, it's either him or Randall Cobb week to week, and I don't want to play the volatility.
Cobb still had 6 receptions, though. Cobb still had 6 receptions for 47 yards, so it wasn't like Cobb was non-existent, and that was the only reason Cooks was able to perform. What sells me on him a little bit is their defense is still bad. They're still going to need to be passing a lot. And Will Fuller, right now he's healthy. How long does that ever last, guys? How long does it ever last? So if Will Fuller goes down, they don't really have another receiver in this offense who's going to command the ball. And that could equate to a lot of heavy target games for Brandon Cooks if Fuller does go down. So I do like him. If he's available, absolutely scoop him up. Maybe see if you can trade something cheap for someone who just thinks this is a 1 week,
flash in the pan, right?
Yeah.
Let me hit you with the line here. We got Houston +2 at Tennessee. Who do you got?
+2. That's not enough for me to take Houston. I'm taking Tennessee here.
I agree. I actually think it's a field goal game. I'm really curious because I don't know a lot about the offensive system and what they're going to be doing in Houston. So a lot of this is kind of up in the air. Look, when Matt LaFleur went over to Green Bay, speaking of Tennessee here, and Arthur Smith took over, I didn't know anything really about Arthur Smith as an offensive play caller. I think he's the best in the league at this point. And I think he's a slam dunk head coaching candidate in terms of the coordinators, I'm saying. Like him along with Brian Daboll in Buffalo are doing fantastic work as offensive coordinators. The same could be true with Houston. And sometimes, the new energy, I guess there was some negative energy with Bill O'Brien. He was all obvious. Huh? Was that?
A little bit.
Little bit. It made, I think, maybe the worst trade in recent NFL history in what he got back for DeAndre Hopkins. New energy in the room. Houston, they've been in the playoffs the last few years, man. Like they're not a bad roster. So, you could get anything. So I personally, again, as a bettor, especially not having seen Tennessee the last couple of weeks because of what's going on, and hopefully they play on Tuesday. I think they will. But I'm going to stay away from it. If I have to make a pick now, I'll take Tennessee.